Sup, dudes? I'm 3Sound here, and welcome back to the Java tutorial. Now, you might recognize this. This is what we were working on last time. I said I would upload the day after, but I got a little bit distracted. Anyway, here we have this thing. Now, I'm just going to work on just a whole bunch of, like, operations. So, we're going to do... That's actually for something for much later. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, we're going to go in here. We're going to do Java application. And next, call this one tutorial 2. It's just going to set up the whole thing. Let's just delete the comments that it automatically put in, because I kind of don't like to have them like that. Anyway, so let's start by declaring two integers, int number 1, int number 0, int number 2. Number 1. Anyway, let's show you a few tricks with these. First of all, let's just delete this line. Now this here is allowed. Basically, it says int number 0, comma number 1. So it's basically, this is also an int. This is something you can do. You can also do this online. You can also give it a value on the same line. You saw that in the last one, but you can also do it not get a value in this one. You can also give it a value on a separate line. You can reassign values as well. For example, here we are with, let's set this equal to 99. And this one equal to 85. Just random numbers here. All right, so we're going to have int sum difference product quotient, because we're just going to be doing the basic operations here. Anyway, from here, we are going to do something really interesting. We're going to calculate all of these. Let's start with sum equals, now this is a really easy one. This assigns a value to sum. It equals number 0 plus number 1. Basically, what this does is it assigns 99 plus 85 into here, but we can change the values and we'll change it. We can also do difference equals number 0 minus number 1. Product equals number 0 times, and that's the sign you use for times, number 1. Use the asterisk for times. Don't use the letter X. And then quotient equals number 0 divided by number 1. Now you might see this and decide it's going to give me a decimal number, but here's the thing. This is an int. It can only store integers. So this is going to be quite interesting. It's either going to be 0 or 1. So what we want to do instead is we want to remove this from here. Enter double quotient. This ensures that this displays as a decimal number with decimal point. And then we can just do the output, system.out.println. If I remember to spell it right, we could just put in the sum of, and then we can do this, and is, and then we do sum, and then we put in a period, because you want it to be grammatically correct. And then I can actually Control-C, and I can basically copy and paste it, so I can just change this part. And I use the arrow keys. Like, seriously, I'm just going to say this right now. You should learn to love your arrow keys when messing in here, when coding. because they are really good for moving around to work with stuff. Okay. Now these are almost all of the processes operations you can do with numbers. So let's just run this, and you'll see that it runs properly. 184, 14, 8,415. I think I might need to cast this a bit because it's definitely not 1. Okay, so let's go back into here. So what I'm about to do is called casting. Now we put a double, and we put brackets around this. And basically what that says is turn number 0 into a double. Basically, read it as if it's a double. Same can be done with this guy. Basically, it says read them as if they're doubles, and then it works correctly. It's a bit of a iffy part of Java, to be honest, whether or not it works the way you want it to. Anyway, the next thing we want to look at is another process. That's also a thing that we can do. And it's done with this. It's done with the following sign. So we're just going to put number 0 and then use the percent sign. I don't understand why that is the way it is, why they use that, but that's the modular symbol, I don't remember exactly. But basically, it shows you the remainder. So let's Control V to basically put it in here. And remainder, I mean, the sentence makes no sense, but whatever. We're doing this. And it's 14. It is basically the difference because this is 1. But say the 99, we can change it now. Say the 99 was more than double 85. Let's put it to 206. We're going to get different results, of course. But you see, this is 36 while this is 121. That's the difference. That's the remainder. All right. So then there's that one. Now let's work with some Booleans. We're going to pull out 2 Booleans because that's what we're going to mess with here. So Boolean, bool 0, bool 1. So we're going to mess with them, and we're going to set 1 to true, 1 to false. So what we're looking at is Boolean values. Okay, so let me show you a few things. This is the first one. So as you know, you can straight print out a Boolean. But there's operations that can be done with Booleans. For example, if you put an exclamation point before you type it out, that means not. So it does the opposite of it. So you see, it says true, and even though it's the same one, it now says false. Now you can also do something interesting, and that's the AND sign. So we can do Boolean 0 and Boolean 1, but we're also going to do this several times for all the different scenarios. So Control C, we're just going to Control V it. It's just going to replace it. So we're going to do this 4 times. So this one we're going to have Boolean 0, Boolean 0. This one we're going to have Boolean 0 and Boolean 1. Actually, we only need to do this 3 times because if you just swap them around, they're just swapped around. Anyway, so as you can see, just ignore these 2. This one, where it was this one and this one, was false. Because while this one was true, it had to be that this one was true and this one was true, which means that in the end it is false. Makes sense. This one, that's true, so the whole thing's true. That's false, so the whole thing's false. That is and. I'm going to go into here and we're going to do like a sort of table kind of thing. So I'm just going to put in Okay, so I'm not sure what we're going to do. So this is going to be for and this one's going to be for or. Now the reason for that is we're going to put true and false. True, true. True, false. False, false. And false, true. If I can spell true right. So we're just going to add another tab here. So this first scenario is going to be, in the end, true because both are true. This next one, however, is going to, an or is one or the other, so this one's still going to be true. This one, on the other hand, is going to be false for and because one of them is false, but this one is still going to be true because one of them is false. It's this or that. If one of them's true, the whole thing ends up being true. This is false, false. This is false the whole way around. And lastly, this one, it's false here, but true here. All right. And also, there's another thing called the exclusive or. Now I'm just gonna put exclusive or because exclusive or technically doesn't have an operator in this because there actually is a way to make sure there actually is a way to do this. So basically exclusive or, we're just going to check what each one does. Exclusive or, it's this or that, but not this and that. So this would be false, but this would be true. This would be false because neither are true, and this would be true. Basically what it's looking for is that cancel, is that they are not the same value, essentially. Next we got neither this nor that. Pretty easy one. Not this. Okay, not this and that. So this would be false. This would basically be the opposite of this and that. So where, you see? And then the next one is nor, which is basically the opposite of or, pretty much. So where or is true, this one's false. So or is true here, so this is still false, but this one is true, and this one is false. Now there's one more, actually. We're also going to do the exclusive nor, pretty much. This is what it is. Basically, the opposite of the exclusive or. It's a bit weird, but basically, this would be true because they're both the same. This would be false because they're different. This would be true because they're the same. And this would be false because they're different. It's basically this one's checking to see if they're the same. All right, you got that? So that's how we mess with Booleans. Now you can compare numbers as well. Let's get rid of the... Let's throw in some lines for all the different scenarios for all the other stuff. At least when it comes to the or. And the exclusive or, not the exclusive or, I meant the inverse of these. So that one just gonna be that. I just pressing all the wrong keys right now. Pretinolin. I don't even know what just happened there. Anyway, we're just gonna copy and paste this so I can basically have a bunch of them. So as you can see, it reflects that. One of those is true, so it's true. One of those is, both of those are true, so it's true. Both of those are false, so it's false. The exclusive or I'll actually show in a little bit, by the way. Anyway, Then we're just going to look at the inverses of them. It's actually a simple way to do this. We're just going to Control-C these. We're going to copy them. And then what we want to do is we want to surround these with brackets. That's the first step to setting this to be the way we want it to inverting it, because if we put the exclamation point in front of one of them, it inverts that one, but not the other one. So it doesn't invert the whole thing. But if we put brackets around it, basically the exclamation point before the brackets decides to invert that whole thing, because that whole thing counts as a single Boolean, if you know what I mean. So here we just do exclamation points in front of all of them. So, yeah. So the first one was not true and false. So true and false returns false, but not that, so true. The next one's not true and true, so false. Next one's not false and false, so true. The next one's not true or false, so it's false. The next one's not true or true, so it's false. The next one's not false or false, so it's true. If that made sense. Now I'm not going to get to the exclusive or and exclusive nor yet, because because there's actually a simple way to do it. There's a really complicated way to do it, but I'm not going to show you that because it's really complicated. There's an even simpler way to do it. But first, I'm going to show you comparison signs. Now let's declare two numbers. Let's do n0, n1. Let's give them 36. Let's give this a value of 36, and this one a value of 43. Actually, let's just give us a value known as, let's just give you a 10. All right, 10. Now there's different Booleans that can be existing for this. You can compare this to other numbers. First things first, let's do n0 equals. Now, if you did 1 equals, that would be the assignment, but double equals is comparison. So what this says is compare it to 6. Is it equal to 6? Now, it's not, so it should print false, and it does. Let's do the next one. Now, there's also a not equals. And you remember what I said was the symbol we use for not? So you'd think that, right? That's not equal to. Now it's giving you an error. Why? Because it's just a single equals. It's just not equal. This is equals to. This is not equal. And it says true because, yes, this is not equal to 4. Now, there's a few more. System.out.println. Let's do n0 is less than 21. Now, there's other ones like this. System.out.println. If I could spell println correctly, this would make this a whole lot easier, but so n0 is greater than 2. Now, what would these return? Well, it is less than 21, and this is greater than 2, so it would both return true, and it does. Let's change this to a 10 so they all return true, just so you know. Just because. Anyway, then there's two more. There's, yeah, boy, this keeps happening. Okay, there's also n0 is greater than or equal to. In this case, we're just going to set it to 5. It'll return true even if it's 10. Because really, it's not greater than 10. It's equal to 10, but this is greater than or equal to. Ah, boy. And then we're just going to do less than or equal to, let's try 13. Now, they'll all return true, as you can see right here. So those are all the comparison things. Now I can actually show you. So let's put comments on these because it's good practice to put comments. The numbers, the results, just gonna, if I can get the right amount of summaries. Print booleans, and this is for comparisons. And now that you know comparisons, now these two don't only work for numbers. They also work for pretty much any variable you find. Now strings is a bit wonky, just so you know, so don't mess with it with strings. There's a reason. We'll explain that later. I'll show you how to do it with strings in a bit. Anyway, so now what we want to do is we want to say, hey, booleans. Now remember how I was specifically saying it's checking to make sure these are not equal, and this one's checking to make sure they are equal. Well, there you go. We can do that. So system.out.println, and then we'll just use the booleans from before. Boolean 0 equals Boolean 1. Hey, what do you know? So let's just put this down 3 times so we can just have this. So we can have true and true. Now, looking at this, it's like, yeah, that'll obviously be true. Basically what this doesn't treat these as booleans anymore. It treats the whole thing as a boolean. Basically treats this as a variable that's being compared to another variable. At the end, false, true, true. Boom. There's more. So we're just gonna highlight this. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna change this to not equals. And this creates the exclusive OR. This is the exclusive NOR, this is the exclusive OR. Boom. True, false, false. It's basically inverted of this one. There you go. Now characters, the equals and not equals to works. Chars, char variables, that works. I'm not going to show you in there. Basically, it just works. But string, we're going to choose 2 strings. This one's going to be I love you. I typed this wrong. I forgot to give it a name. String equals I love you. Simple. But string 1, I'll make this string 0, equals I love you. You might think, oh, we run equals on them. It will do true. So let's do a system.out.println string 0 equals string 1. The final boolean, you're expecting it to be true, right? Somehow it is. I think there's a way for strings to be compared. But it says it's not recommended. Now, I'm pretty sure Java has something done into something set so that this still works, but there is a better way to do it, and it's a more recommended way. Use dot equals. So string 0 dot equals string 1. I'm not going to explain what on earth that even means, but it's due to what a string actually is. It's because of the same. It's the same reason that this starts with a capital letter. This right here, and I'll explain that way into the future. But yeah, this right here basically means string 0 dot equals string 1. It's basically if this is, and it will return true. If not equals, just put a not at the beginning of the whole thing. Actually, let's just copy this line and do that, so that we got both of them in there. And then returns true, false. It does still work with these comparators here, like I just saw. Actually, I didn't know that before. I thought it wouldn't work, and which is why you have to do this. But this is tidier. This works better most of the time. So always do this. Now, there is some interesting stuff to do with null. That's a thing that's also way into the future. But that's basically all the operations that exist. By the way, with strings as well, you can also do something like this. Let's just a little thing. String 2 2 equals string 0 plus string 1. I don't know why you put I love you with no space in between them, but whatever. Actually, you could do that no space thing. There. That would automatically insert a space in between them. That is possible, and it makes it a lot easier rather than hitting dot append, dot append, dot append. That basically does the same thing. I'm not going to explain what on earth that means, but basically what we're going to do here is we're just going to system.out.println string 2. And as you can see, it works. And as well, you can also throw in other random stuff. So let's initialize a character, and we're just going to set it to capital S. Don't know why. This is a tutorial. This isn't actually something worth programming to program. So we're just going to set a string 3, and we're going to set it to be string 2 plus C0 plus N0 plus Boolean 0. Oh, by the way, I forgot the equal sign, just so you know. I gotta get, yeah, okay. And then we can put string 3, and you're thinking, these are all different types. What on earth is happening? Basically, it takes this, it's character, turns it into a string. The number turns it into a string. The Boolean turns it into a string. At the end, we get I love you, dot, I love you, S10 true. The S10 true part is weird, but just roll with it. So, I believe there's another operator, but it's a little bit of a thing. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do int. So, I'm going to do string 4. Now, this is how we're going to assign it. Equals Boolean 0, question mark. What this says is it's asking if Boolean 0 is true. If it's true, it gives it this value. If not, and you do this, otherwise give it this value. You can also nest these a bunch, and I'll just show you that. And then put a semicolon at the end. And then we can system.out.println string 4. There's a lot of strings being messed around with. And bool 0 is true. We expected that to happen, as you can tell from all the way up here. That'll happen. Now let's Control-C this, Control-V, and now you see another error that I probably should have gotten to last time. You can't have two variables of the same name. Let's change that to string 5. And also change this to string 5, so we're actually outputting that. And now we don't want to use Boolean 0, we want to use Boolean 1. By the way, I don't know why that exists. And this will say Boolean 1 is false. See? You can nest these, by the way. So string 6, seriously, all these strings, equals, now we're going to check Boolean 1, option 1. Otherwise, and you want this to have brackets around it so it doesn't get absolutely confused. Actually, I think you don't need to have brackets around this. Boolean 0 is going to go weird. Now, all things considered, you'd think this will be getting option 2, right? Looks at this guy, looks at this, decides this is false, so it skips over this guy to check this whole thing. This is the entire otherwise thing. It's easier to see if it's put in brackets, by the way, than you do then it's like, okay, now we're checking Boolean 0. Is it true? And it takes this guy. If it was false, it would take this guy. Now, let's just print it and see if it actually does print option 2. Option 2, it said. Therefore, so that's what happened there. Lastly, there's one more that we're going to do. Actually, no, I think that's it. You can also do operations within the system.out thing. So let's just do sum plus difference. You can do that within there, and we'll output sum plus difference. Now, if you scroll up, you'll see where sum and difference were 291, 121, and that does add up to 412. So it can do that. You can do it within a system.output print line. But thank you all so much for watching. Okay, actually, I'm going to do, but thank you all so much for watching. If you liked it, please push the like button, share it if you liked it, and subscribe for daily content, and be sure to have a lovely day. Bye!